So something really weird is going on right now in New York, and I wanted to quickly talk about it. The AI industry is spending millions of dollars. They pledged $10 million trying to make sure that this one guy, Alex Borez, is not elected. That is a wild amount of money to spend on a campaign like this, and doesn't seem to be working. But why? Who is this guy? What are they so upset about? So yeah, Alex Borez is running for Congress. He's relatively young. He has, I think, a master's degree in computer science. He used to work in the tech industry. So he knows what's going on with technology more than most Congress people. And he's worried about AI. And not just like environmental concerns, he's worried about what I consider to be like the really acute, like serious concerns. He's worried about AI-enabled bioweapons, automated cyber attacks, lost control, that kind of thing. And honestly, I don't know very much about him, but my friends who are more into politics than I am, they're very excited by this guy. And the AI industry is really out to get him because he's responsible for this law in New York, the RAISE Act, which, as far as I can tell, is actually like a fairly tame piece of legislation. It's basically like, okay, you have to have some kind of safety tests, you have to report what they are and, the results, and if it seems like something you're making is really dangerous, like that it might be responsible for more than, I think, 50 deaths or $1 billion in damages, if it's really dangerous, New York can sue you to not release it, something like that. And I think most people, when they hear that, they think was that not already the law? Several of the heads of these companies are saying that there's more than 10% chance that AI causes human extinction. There's really no legal requirement to have any safety tests at all. And if you do have tests and they come back saying, oh, your AI might kill hundreds of people, you can legally just keep that to yourself. Yeah. So this is really not very much regulation at all, right? This is a level of regulation which is less than we apply to children's toys, for example. We're nowhere near the range of, drugs or airplanes or any of these other things that, things which, by the way, are much less dangerous than AI has the potential to be. So yeah, it's a pretty tame law. It's quite, reasonable, in my opinion, and I am not the most pro-regulation guy in the world. But obviously, a lot of AI industry people go apeshit at this because they don't want any rules to apply to them at all. So there's a huge amount of lobbying to try to kill this law, and they managed to get it modified to basically gut the whole thing. So the law is, pretty much powerless. They removed the bit where a company can actually be blocked from releasing a system that's found to be dangerous. So it's basically just you have to have some tests and report the results. But also, they reduced the fine for not doing that down to just $1 million, which for these giant companies, well, hang on. So I forgot to say, it only ever applied to companies with more than $500 million of revenue. So basically, it only applies to, I think, 5 companies. Anthropic, OpenAI, DeepMind, xAI, probably a couple more that I'm forgetting. But it's, the only people bound by this at all are these enormous companies, such that a $1 million fine is really just nothing. And I don't know, I think it was probably a pretty sensible law. Having it completely neutered in this way, it's unfortunate. But it's kind of all in the game, I guess. You have to expect industry is going to try to not be regulated in any way whatsoever. That's what they do. Don't blame a wolf for being hungry. That's just what wolves do. But the thing is, now they're basically trying to make an example out of Alex Borez, right? So you have these venture capitalists and Greg Brockman, the president of OpenAI, and the co-founder of Palantir, these giant, tech industry people. They make a new super PAC, a financial vehicle for funding politics stuff. And they say, yeah, we're going to spend more than $10 million just making sure that this guy, Alex Borez, does not get elected. To punish him, basically, for daring to stand up against us. So they're buying all of these attack ads, and the ads are really funny because they don't talk about AI, hardly at all. And obviously they aren't talking about AI, right? They want to punish Borez for his position on AI, but if they talk about his position on AI, the American public is kind of on his side, right? AI is really not popular right now. So instead they say, oh, you shouldn't vote for Alex Borez because he worked for Palantir. He used to work for Palantir. And Palantir worked with ICE, and that's bad. And, I think that is bad. And he did, in fact, work at Palantir. But as I understand it, he quit because of the ICE thing. Like, I haven't looked into the details very closely, but my understanding is his former colleagues say, yeah, he was unhappy with the ICE situation. He raised concerns about it, and that's why he left. But the thing that's funny about this is, like, one of the main funders of this super PAC that's running these ads is one of the co-founders of Palantir. Like, you're trying to tar this man by association with yourself. Come on. That pisses me off. But yeah, the other funny thing about, all these ads and all this spending is it doesn't really seem to be working. Like, I guess because of how ridiculous this whole thing is, a bunch of other people, including Anthropic, started pouring in money on the other side, and as far as I can tell, the candidates are pretty much neck and neck in the polls. So all this money that this PAC is spending on trying to kill Boris's campaign doesn't seem to be working out for them. Although, I mean, he's not winning, but he's not losing either. It's neck and neck. So we'll see what happens. But I think this does matter because it sets a precedent, right? Like, is the AI industry able to, bully lawmakers who dare to stand up to them? Does this kind of intimidation tactic work? And we'll have to wait and see. The election is on the 23rd. Although I think there's early voting starting on the 13th, so we might get some information a little earlier than that. If you know people in New York, ask them what they think. I don't know. I mean, I hope he wins. I think that would be funny. I'm not like being paid to say that. This is my personal opinion, not representing any employer or organization or anything like that. But yeah, personally, I hope he wins.